Yeah.
All right, how about Arik Armstead? Let's move to Arik Armstead because Armstead is out. He's not going to play this week. He's not going to play next week. To me, that's the one concern I have. One, I love that they're sitting him. Why? Because, you know, he's got plantar fasciitis. Anybody who's ever had plantar fasciitis knows that rest is all that makes it better. Rest. Right. And so getting a big man like that, 6'7", 300 pounds, 290, whatever he is, off his feet for a couple games will help the plantar fasciitis. He's also got a little knee pain going on. You need him in the playoffs. I don't know that you need him to win these next couple games against the Seahawks and Cardinals. So he's out of this game. Who would you like to see start opposite Hargrave inside? Because the options, as you know, are Kinlaw and Kevin Givens and Khia Davis.
I want Javon. It's time. It's time. We got a lot of little saga stories on this roster, right? We got a lot of like first round pick guys where they didn't really pan out, and we do a good job at like discarding guys or kind of like pushing them off to the wayside, especially when we get a lower guy that comes in there instead and does better than them. Everybody loves to brag about a deal. That's just what it is. So Javon Kinlaw has been somebody that's really been on the outskirts of the timing of when he's going to show us who he truly is as a player and his body being able to cooperate with him, right? So for me, I've always wanted to see Javon blossom because I just felt as though that he got a raw deal. And he was working really hard while getting it, which is so hard, right? Like the injuries that he was having with his knee, he completely changed his body in the last summer, came in and then had more arthritic problems with his knee. On top of him learning how to be a pro, dealing with the media, dealing with knowing how to be this new player, and the pressure of, you know, we got Javon Kinlaw as a DeForest Buckner replacement. That's just why he was here. That's facts. And
he's feeling good right now too. He is feeling good. I talked to him yesterday in the locker room, or Thursday, I guess it was, and you know, he said, "Man, I'm feeling good," and you know, so he's ready. He's ready. He's playing with leverage. He's just coming off a 2-sack game. I agree. I think I would roll with Kinlaw and just see if you can get him to, you know, play, you know, a big majority of those snaps. Yeah. I want to share this with you though, because this was Wilkes. I asked Wilkes this week about Khia. We don't really know that much about Khia. I'm a big fan. He's a former linebacker. He played at Central Florida.
Yep.
Here's Wilkes talking a little bit about Khia. I asked him about him on Thursday.
Steve, what's the key to Khia Davis? We haven't seen a lot of him, but he's obviously a very talented player. What do you like about his game?
Man, Khia has really, you know, the whole time when he wasn't in there, he kept that mindset of just waiting for his opportunity, and for him to seize it the way he did this past week was glorifying for not only him, but for everybody. Good pad level. He's very strong. I love the way he comes off the ball, uses his hands well, and good lateral movement where he can shed and get down the line of scrimmage and chase things down. So he's going to be getting a lot of reps here coming up soon.
There you go. Obviously, Wilkes knew the situation with Armstead, so Khia is going to get some run. What did you think of Khia? I mean, he was a linebacker. He runs really well for somebody 315 pounds for sure.
Yeah, he runs very well. Very athletic, explosive. I was surprised by his knee bend off of coming off that injury. I mean, God, he gets so parallel with the turf, man. When he fires off the ball, he's got a good motor. He just doesn't know where he needs to be sometimes on the field, but that just comes with playing. He needs to be on the field some more. I'm excited about him and Javon. Khia Davis is another athlete who's coming off of another serious knee injury, who is bouncing back, where the Niners have stuck with him. That's one thing I've seen about the Niners, man, is that if you show any type of real promise on the defensive side of the ball, especially on D-line, they will stick with you, right? That's just another that's just another hallmark of how this team is built. And Khia Davis and Javon Kinlaw are examples of that. They have stuck with these guys, and really we're about to see proof of concept with Arik Armstead being down. You know, Arik is Big Oak. He's literally class personified as being the tip of the spear on that defensive line. But as we were talking about before we heard about Coach Wilkes, I'm really excited for Javon. Javon Kinlaw is getting a lot better. One of the biggest things about Javon when he first started is that he used to play really high, right? Yeah. Coming out of his break, he would coming out of his stance, he popped straight up, right?
Well, and you lose all your leverage, you lose all your strength.
That beautiful physique that he has gets wasted when he pops right up, right? And then you get to see him, and then it just, what's really bad is that he's such a long athlete with being as big as he is. He's still tall, and it just looks awkward on the film, right? When you see a man of that stature, his body getting pushed back where you know that he's got tons of strength. He's just not in his power angles and he doesn't have good leverage. I have not seen a lot of that this year with Javon. Javon seems very eager to get upfield, a little bit so much, though, that it's helping his pass rush, and he's doing a phenomenal job at finding second move. Javon didn't have a second move when he first started last year. When Javon was playing last year, it was a bull rush. That was it. Maybe a side swipe. That was it. Maybe a club. That was it. Maybe a rip. That was it. But for the most part, it was a bull rush. He just wanted to get his hands on you. Now you see it being layered. I actually saw Javon using multiple moves during defense. So, I mean, during defensive pass rushing opportunities. Now, what has suffered a little bit with Javon is his run defense has dipped a little bit as a result of being so preoccupied with trying to get up the field. We're trying to have a first step. We're trying to get past the line of scrimmage and get 3 yards of penetration to crush that pocket. He hasn't been as stout in the run game, but it's not for lack of trying. It's not because he's a bitch. He knows what he's doing. His biggest thing is he needs more of those run reps where he's not really seeing them because we have a little bit of a star-studded D-line. So you got to kind of wait your turn, right? I think with Javon, especially Javon, because I haven't seen so much of Khia yet, and I'm eager to see. I just haven't seen a lot. But with what Javon has shown throughout the year and the type of player that we know he is, and let's just talk about the personal level. Arik Armstead is Javon Kinlaw's mentor.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
that's his mentor.
He calls him, I mean, I talked to him yesterday. He calls Arik one of the most important people in his life.
Yeah, that's his big homie. That's his OG. Real talk.
He admires him professionally,
personally, spiritually, financially, life coach wise, the whole nine, right? Like Arik Armstead is damn near tying his shoes up for him. Like that's his OG. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you don't think Arik hasn't sat Javon down and been like, bruh, you better represent. You better come in here and make it look like we haven't missed a beat. Don't you go out there and fail me. Don't you go out there and nut up and shit the bed now that you finally got an opportunity with me sitting down. Me. You know how they feel about me. If I'm taking a break, bruh, this is one of the rare cracks in the door that you're going to get in this game. And that's how NFL players talk to each other. Even though from a fan standpoint, it may look like, man, you're kind of like telling him to take your spot. No, it's an opportunity.
Arik believes that when Javon gets that opportunity that he's going to be great in this league. He told me that this week or last week.
Yeah.
I had a great conversation with Javon yesterday, by the way. Everybody should go check that out. We had an extended couple minutes where we talked dip. We talked dip. I said, because he had a big old lipper in, and I said, Javon, I go, I used to be a Copenhagen man myself back in the day. I beat the habit eventually, but I go, what are you dipping? I go, what's your dip of choice?
Wintergreen long cut.
And he goes, oh man, Grizzly. I just, he's like, oh man, I don't even know what this is. I go, what are you dipping? Grizzly? You dipping long cut? You dipping Kopi? You dipping Skull? What do you got? And he's like, I just bummed this one from George or something. And he's like, but I just anything. He goes, anything that has a little flavor to it, a little wintergreen
long cut, Grizzly wintergreen long cut, man.
Little wintergreen, just anything that has a little flavor to it.
Hey man, Javon's a good dude. That was the dip of the gods. Wintergreen long cut, Grizzly wintergreen long cut. I
used to do radio shows. And I went from snuff to long cut just so it wouldn't move around.
Yeah, so the state
and there would be a couple times I'll be doing shows. This is back in the day. This is like 20 years ago. Guys would be like, somebody would call, be like, Kruger, really sounds like you're dipping. I'm like, and I'm trying to keep it a secret. I'm like, no, the show wasn't on TV at the time, and there was no cameras. No, I'm not dipping.
Nah.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I feel like sounds like you're dipping. Yeah, no, but yeah, we talked a little dip, we talked a little everything.
Yeah.
Check that out on YouTube. But Javon's got an opportunity here. Khalia's got an opportunity. Givens is playing at a high level. They gotta give Arik a couple weeks off, man. They got to figure out a way to step up and give the big man a couple weeks off. If Arik Armstead is rolling full tilt, man, the Niners' chances of going to and winning the Super Bowl go up. So he's a very important guy. We talked about, who's the most important guy. We didn't even mention him, but he is really vitally important. So
yeah, he's huge. He's huge to what they do. If you and I, we watch film regularly, Larry. If you look at their defensive stunts, a lot of that stuff where Arik is the pivot, he's the 1D lineman that they move off of, right? They predicate a lot of their stunts and a lot of their pressures off of the pressure and the movement that Arik Armstead gets at that spot. So
he's a cerebral player, Coach. I mean, one of the keys to defending Hurts and Geno, by the way, is staying in your lanes and balancing your D line. And like there was a play, I was talking to Randy Gregory the other day, and I mentioned to him, I said, hey, there was a play where Bosa was outside, shot inside against Hurts, and it was in front of Arik. And Arik saw this and reacted by pushing outside, despite the fact he had a lane to get up the field inside. Instead, he pushed outside to keep the 4-man line balanced and to keep basically the pocket, keep him hemmed in, as opposed to, is there a side door open?
Yeah.
So he's like, Bosa shot in, he shot out, the other way, and basically balanced the whole thing out. And Randy was like, yeah, man. First of all, Randy's like, hey, man. And I go, when the interview was over, he's like, I dig you, man. You watch the film. And I said, well, hey, man, if I'm going to come in here and ask you guys questions, I better fucking know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm going to look like a jerk. And he's like, truer words have never been spoken. But he's like, man, I appreciate you. So, but that was the plan, which was, I mean, Hurts only ran 7 times. His longest run was 7 yards. That was one of the keys to the victory, was that the Niners kept him hemmed in. If he runs for 25 yards and busts your defense and guts it, and now everybody's got their hands on their hip because they're you're breathing heavy. Now suddenly you're not nearly as effective. They minimized his rush, took away his big runs, and I thought that was as big a key as any to them beating Philly.